Breaking news from the MTA. The Eastern Bus Division is temporarily closed after an operator tests positive for the coronavirus. The operator last reported to work last Thursday. Now, the buses are disinfected daily, and the Eastern Bus Division has been closed so it can undergo a thorough cleaning and disinfecting. Also breaking overnight, the Senate reaches a deal on a $2 trillion economic stimulus package designed to help American workers and businesses. Laura Podesta reports for WJZ.
After days of back and forth, the Senate will vote on a roughly $2 trillion stimulus bill today.
At last, we have a deal
on the largest rescue package in American history.
The deal includes $500 billion in loans for big businesses, nearly $400 billion in grants and loans for small businesses, and a one-time cash payment for most working Americans.
By that Easter, that beautiful Easter day.
At the White House yesterday, President Trump suggested getting people back to work in less than 3 weeks.
Our decision will be based on hard facts and data as to the opening.
One of the top medical experts on the coronavirus task force suggested it was a flexible timeline.
No one is going to want to tone down things when you see what's going on in a place like New York City.
New York has become the epicenter of the outbreak in America, with the infection rate doubling every 3 days.
New York is the canary in the coal mine.
Governor Andrew Cuomo warned other states to prepare for the worst. Incensed the Trump administration isn't doing enough to provide medical supplies.
You pick the 26,000 people who are going to die.
Speaking to Fox News, the president repeated his theory on why keeping the economy shut is worse than the coronavirus.
You're going to have suicides by the thousands.
I don't think he's listening to the science.
Democratic and Republican governors say President Trump should not rush Americans back to work. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
Maryland sees its largest single-day increase in positive coronavirus cases. Tuesday, at least 439 test positive in Maryland. Also, a fourth person dies from the disease in our state. We've also learned a UMBC professor has died from complications of the virus. Dr. Maurice Berger passed away Sunday in New York. Our extensive coverage begins with Amy Kawada, who brings us up to date on several new developments. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning, Max. The latest victim is a Prince George's County man in his 60s with underlying health conditions. And due to the spike in cases, we're here at the convention center downtown, where we got an inside look of the area here that's being turned into a temporary hospital.
We can isolate each.
On Tuesday, the governor toured the lower floor of the Baltimore City Convention Center, which the National Guard is turning into a makeshift coronavirus field hospital with 250 beds for a worst-case scenario.
This is the fastest we can do. You can't build a new hospital that fast, but this is about as close as you can get to opening a new hospital.
This plan to sort of relieve the pressure within the hospitals of patients that don't need ventilation, that don't need ICU care, are all part of the process to get us ready for the surge.
His visit comes as Maryland's positive cases surge to at least 349, now including 4 children. And a fourth person has died, a man in his 60s from Prince George's County with underlying health conditions. Officials say they do not know when the pandemic will peak.
If we can break this transmission for a period of time, we can stop this flow. But when the peak is going to be, you hear anything from weeks to months.
They are also concerned about a lack of supplies, including masks and ventilators.
We can't have these spikes in this demand on the healthcare system and not have enough healthcare workers and enough emergency room beds and enough ICU beds and enough of all those things. That's what everybody's afraid of. We don't want to be Italy, and we don't want to be New York.
Other developments include the Howard County Trader Joe's in Elkridge closing for a deep cleaning after one of the grocery store's employees may have been exposed to COVID-19. Aberdeen Proving Ground announced 2 confirmed cases. They are Army civilian employees currently in isolation. And Baltimore City's mayor is asking for federal help.
Now I'm calling on the federal government to bail out cities that are facing financial difficulties now.
And we also heard from Senator Ben Cardin. He wrote a letter to the State Department asking all Americans stranded abroad to be brought back home here to the U.S. as soon as possible. Live from downtown Baltimore this morning, I'm Amy Kawada for WJZ.
Amy, thank you. Governor Hogan says he's not sure when Maryland schools will open back up. Hogan says he's consulting with doctors, scientists, and other governors, but that ultimately the state superintendent will make the decision with input from 24 local school superintendents. The governor says the final decision will come in the next day or two about if and when schools will resume instruction in the classroom. Baltimore City State's attorney is calling on the governor for the supervised release of some inmates. WJZ is live at Courthouse East. Mike Hsu explains the request is linked to the potential spread of the virus. Mike.
Good morning, Max. During these extraordinary times, the question is, are inmates safer where they are, or should they be out here? Marilyn Mosby says she has medical backing to show that some should be released, but the decision ultimately rests with the governor.
In order to prevent the outbreak of the coronavirus behind bars, Marilyn Mosby calls for the governor to release certain inmates. She sent a letter to Hogan this week saying that top health experts, some from Johns Hopkins, believe the tight confines of jails and prisons are places where the virus will spread quickly.
Understanding that these facilities could become easily a breeding ground for this virus, it will not only impact those that are incarcerated, but has the potential of impacting our entire community at large.
Mosby said via this phone call with WJZ that inmates who've already been approved for parole, nonviolent offenders, older people, or those who have compromised immune systems are the ones who should be granted supervised release.
What we know about this set population is that they're not inclined to recidivate. They don't necessarily pose a public safety threat, and they're already scheduled to be released.
WJZ asked the governor what he thought.
I said last week that right now we're trying to keep, citizens in their homes, and the last thing we want to do is release people that are now kind of in quarantine.
In the end, if the governor wants them to stay behind bars, they'll stay behind bars. I'm Mike Hsu reporting live downtown for WJZ.
Mike, thank you. As more people use disinfectant wipes to stop the spread of the coronavirus, Baltimore's Department of Public Works is reminding everyone not to flush those wipes. The department says flushing certain items down the toilet, even if they say they're flushable, can cause major sewer backups and eventually lead to expensive plumbing repairs for Baltimore residents. All right, we got a lot of questions from you at home about which businesses are essential and can stay open. Paul Gessler breaks down which ones have to close due to the governor's order.
1 4-pack of the Seagram's Black Cherry Fizz. Black Cherry wine coolers.
Workers inside Wells Discount Liquors are a different kind of busy Tuesday.
Cupcakes, Sauvignon Blanc. It's a really weird time. I mean, every day is unpredictable. Who took that order?
Much of their business is now ordered by phone. Only 2 customers inside at a time.
We don't let them shop the aisles. We'll go get all the products for them and bring them up.
Cold out brute coming up.
Liquor stores are deemed essential under the state's guidance.
I can't imagine, being stuck home with my children and having to not be able to drink.
Body shops are not quite as busy, but Hamden Auto Shop is staying open since they service a lot of doctors, nurses, and first responders.
It's definitely affecting us. I had to cut down my staff by half. But we have to be here.
The governor acknowledges many businesses, even those open, are hurting. He told us Monday he wants those essential to the supply chain to keep doors open.
And we're just going to do everything we can to keep people safe, but it's going to hurt a lot of small businesses and a lot of people that aren't working.
The list of businesses that can remain open span from gas stations to convenience stores, hotels and motels, laundry services, and pet stores, just to name some.
Bicycle repair shops also made that essential list. Joe's Bike Shop says he hasn't cut hours yet, but it could be on the table.
And there is a sense of validation that the state of Maryland recognizes that bicycles are more than just recreational tools.
While he's open, he's adapting like other businesses.
We've been wiping down bicycles. We've been trying to respect our customers and asking them to do the same.
And that's a big thing we notice at those retail locations open is the respecting of distancing and the focus on sanitation. And just because a business can be open doesn't necessarily mean it is, so check with them beforehand. For a complete list of those sectors that can be open during this time, go to WJZ.com. I'm Paul Gessler for WJZ.
President Trump is pushing back the Real ID deadline because of coronavirus, as Maryland Governor Larry Hogan and other governors requested. Under the law, travelers would need the enhanced license by October 1st to board a domestic flight. The president will be announcing the new deadline soon. Two of the hardest hit groups in the outbreak are first responders and restaurant workers, one group working tirelessly, the other barely working at all. But some Baltimore restaurants are coming together to help out those fighting the virus on the front lines. Jimmy's famous seafood restaurant may be empty, but hey, their kitchen's really busy. They've raised over $4,000 offering free meals to those first responders and hospital workers fighting COVID-19.
They're the ones that are really putting the hours in here, the true heroes of this whole situation. We can't thank them enough, and you do what you can to make them see that.
Also starting today, the Y of Central Maryland is opening their doors at 11 locations to provide child care for hundreds of children of first responders and frontline healthcare workers. Qualified parents need to register online. We have a link on our website, wjz.com. Some bad news for seniors at the University of Maryland College Park. Graduation in May has been canceled. The university says this was a heartbreaking decision. Now it's looking into the idea of a virtual ceremony. Plans will be announced in the coming weeks. President Wallace Lowe says he'll do his best to honor the class of 2020. And of course, as always, stay with us as we follow the developments in this pandemic. We have everything you need to know on our website. That's wjz.com.